Hello and welcome to Zen in 10, where we focus upon the process and joy of drawing one tangle. I'm going to start off by drawing my corner dots, allowing myself to recognise that I'm now tangling. I'm going to draw a border in pencil. Just a nice light line. And today's tangle is a grid tangle by Zentangle headquarters called Bales. So having drawn that border, I am now going to restate it in pen, and I'm using a black Micron 05, holding my tile still with my finger, taking my time, recognising that I have started tangling and this is time for me. Okay, so I've got that nice border now in ink, and I'm going to divide this up into 3 sections. So I've put a dot here and a dot here, a dot here and a dot here, and I can draw a line down roughly to that point. Don't worry if it's not evenly spaced. Turn your tile and we're going to create some squares or squarish shapes. It doesn't matter if they're not equal. Really it doesn't, and I encourage you to draw freehand. So now you've got your grid. Go to one section and you're going to draw a C curve on that line there. Move down to the next line, this next square, and draw a C curve and another one. Okay, move across to the other side and you're going to do a C curve going in the opposite direction. Take your time, don't rush to draw these. Grid tangles are wonderful because you get this great repetition, line repetition. So once you know what you're doing in each section, you just move on and repeat it. So take pleasure in that focus. Be aware of your pen. Be aware of the ink coming out of the end of your pen. Don't rush just because you know what's happening on the next line. Okay, turn your tile. And now we're going to do the same. And what will happen is we start creating a meta pattern, a pattern we didn't initially draw, but by combining these C curves in this grid, it creates a new pattern. You can see, if you look, you can see a flower shape, but you will also start to see a circular shape as well. And that is fascinating, so be aware of it. It's almost like I can say, wow, look what I've drawn. This is simple, okay? This is all it needs to be. Zentangle doesn't have to be complicated. Okay, so that is basic Bales. I'm just going to add another little extra bit, and I'm going to add a line across in the centre of each one with a little dot. A line and a cross with a little dot. So Bales has lots of potential variations, and I'd encourage you to explore and play with whatever comes to you. And I do encourage people to play when they're tangling. It shouldn't be serious, it shouldn't be stressful, it should be relaxed, comfortable, joyful. Each stroke focused and aware. Okay, how lovely is that? Okay, I'm going to get my pencil now and we're going to do a little bit of shading. So I'm going to start by looking at where all these lines converge and meet. I'm adding a little bit of graphite just in those. I'm going to soften it in place so it stays nice and dark, and then I'm gently going to tease it out. And I'm aware of the sound of my tortillon on the paper. Okay, so I'm going to move along and I'm going to do exactly the same in that section. Fix it in place, and by that I mean you want to get that graphite into the paper surface. So being mindfully aware, I am aware of some little paper fibres lifting, I can see them. So you can gently blow them away, moving down. So I'm doing where all 4 sections meet. And this will give the impression of them being slightly deeper, like the centre of those flowers that are there, that you have created as a meta pattern. So you want to just tease it out, not to make the areas completely grey. So we've done those, but we've also, if we imagined we'd carried on, these would also have graphite. So where those lines meet, so it's all the way around the edge of where those lines would have continued if you'd drawn a bigger grid. If you haven't really played with grid tangles, I encourage you to explore them, find them, because there are some wonderful grid patterns. I love grid patterns because you get that repetition of, I know what I'm doing here, and very often you get this lovely meta pattern that appears that you didn't intend to draw, but the combination of the lines in each grid section creates an additional pattern. And that is my shading done. I'm not going to add any more shade to that. I'm going to get my pen. I'm going to add my initials for Zenjo. And I encourage you to sign and date the back of your tile on the day that you have created it, and pick it up and just appreciate what you have created. And that is Bales by Zentangle Headquarters. Thank you for joining me.